Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about virus vocabulary. And this is especially important to talk about during the times of coronavirus or COVID-19 outbreak in order to understand how we can address this virus and its background, so where it comes from, how it originated, and all the factors that contribute to making a virus. So let's get started. Epidemiology is our first slide. It is the study of the causes and spread of infectious diseases. So this field of science involves a lot of evidence, data, and mathematical models. So the scientists that work in this field, they have to deal with a lot of evidence from past or present virus outbreaks, and they use that data to compare, contrast, and analyze so that they can make future predictions and so that they can provide reports so that we as a public can see where we're at right now with this infectious outbreak or disease. And if you definitely want to learn a lot more about this field, you can search it up. I recommend going to the CDC and WHO websites to learn more about this field. So let's keep going. A pathogen is any bacteria, virus, fungi, or protist that causes an infectious disease. And an important thing to note is that these are all microorganisms. Bacteria, virus, fungi, protists, they're hard to see with the naked eye. In fact, you can't see it with the naked eye. You can only see it under a microscope. But they have a large impact based off of their function. So on the right, you can see this picture. The left-hand side column is the cellular or living pathogen, and then the acellular or non-living pathogen is on the right-hand side. So here are some examples: parasites, protists, fungi, or prokaryotes, and they have multiple examples down here of each type of pathogen. And then this is where a virus comes in. It's a acellular or non-living pathogen. An example is AIDS. And then here we have another one called a prion. An example is CJD. So let's talk more about viruses. A virus is a microscopic particle that can only replicate by infecting living cells. So if we head back to the other slide, since a virus is acellular, it cannot live on its own. It has to have a host cell that it can replicate off of, that it can use the energy off of. And a virus is made up of proteins, nucleic acids, and oftentimes lipids. A fun fact is that soap is an agent in breaking down a lipid barrier. So usually a lipid barrier is on the outside of a virus, and you are told to wash your hands because soap can break down that lipid barrier and render the virus useless, which is super duper important, especially now that we're dealing with the coronavirus outbreak. So these are some images of common viruses: HIV, hepatitis B, Ebola virus, bacteriophage, influenza, and adenovirus. And these are all the different shapes, so it doesn't have to necessarily come in one sort of shape or form. And then down here we have the coronavirus model. So corona, meaning crown, indicates the small crowns that are on the outside of the virus. So that's where it gets corona from its structure. Okay, so let's keep going. So zoonosis. So zoonosis is a disease that is transmitted from animals to human. And the 2019 novel coronavirus genomic sequence is actually closely related to the bat coronavirus, which has the genome sequence right here. So this is the genomic organization of SARS and SARS-like coronaviruses. So this is the bat coronavirus. You can see that it's very similarly related to the SARS coronavirus. So the genomic sequence here and here, they're very similarly related. So we can safely come to the conclusion that the 2019 novel coronavirus genomic sequence or the 2019 novel coronavirus originates from the bat coronavirus, or is a strain of the bat coronavirus. Now let's look at the definition of epidemic versus pandemic. An epidemic is a sudden increase in the number of cases of a disease from the area's baseline. So an epidemic is specifically targeted at a area or a region. And it just means that there is a large increase or a sudden increase in the number of cases from the baseline. And the baseline is the amount of cases that area has per year. And it just indicates that there was a large spike in cases in that region. A pandemic is an epidemic that encompasses many countries or continents. So just think of an epidemic at a larger scale. And this affects a lot of people, so a larger scale of people around the world, actually. Let's keep going. So coronaviruses, COV, CO for corona, and then V for virus. This is a family of viruses with a range of sicknesses and symptoms. So the coronavirus family can have viruses that incite the common cold or even lead to severe diseases. And the coronavirus family is transmitted from animals to humans, so it is a zoonosis. Some of the signs in coronaviruses include respiratory systems, fever, cough, shortness of breath, and breathing difficulties. And many of these are actually the symptoms for the coronavirus that we are dealing with right now in the world. And severe cases can lead to pneumonia, kidney failure, serious respiratory issues, or even death, which is so unfortunate. But, we are seeing that around the world today, and scientists are working on tackling this issue. Over here, you can see a microscopic image of the coronavirus. As mentioned before, you can see the tiny crowns that surround the virus. Obviously not as visible in the microscopic image, but they are there. Let's continue on. So COVID-19 specifically. So remember, COVID-19 falls under the coronavirus family. COVID-19 is a disease caused by a new strain of coronavirus, which was discovered in 2019 in a wet market in Wuhan, China. So the wet market basically means a market that sells living animals for consumption. And it's important to note that this strain has never been previously identified in humans, which contributes to part of the reason why this virus has had such a deadly impact on human beings. To the right, you're going to see an infographic that just describes the coronavirus, prevention, symptoms, transmission. If you want to pause the video and read over this, I highly recommend it, but we can keep going. Here are two websites to check out. I'll also link these in the description box below. But these websites are from the WHO, the World Health Organization, and from the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Highly reputable websites. They're excellent for learning more about this virus. On the right, you're going to see another infographic on how to stop the spread of germs, which is what we really need right now in order to get this virus under control. I highly recommend pausing the video and reading over this infographic if you want to learn more. And that's it for today's video. I'll briefly go over what we discussed today. So from the end to the beginning, we have websites to check out. We discussed the particular strain of COVID-19. Then we talked about coronaviruses, the entire family, epidemic versus pandemic, zoonosis, the virus, definition of a virus, different examples of a virus, pathogens, definition of pathogens, different categories of pathogens, epidemiology, definition, the field of epidemiology, and finally, back to the beginning, virus vocabulary. So this video is especially targeted to anybody who wants to learn more about coronavirus and its background and field. We highly recommend sharing this with family and friends or anybody who might be interested in learning more about coronavirus. Obviously, we didn't go over everything there is to coronavirus in this video. So if you want to learn more about coronavirus, please leave a comment down in the description or shoot us an email at exceledlearning@gmail.com, which we will leave in the description box as well, indicating what you want to learn more about. And if you have any specific video preferences, please email us or drop us a comment as to what you want to learn. And that's it for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for new videos coming out. Thank you.